With the release of Flutter 3.7 came menu bars. Let me show you how to use them. We're going to start with an empty menu bar in the UI here. The first widget you need to know of is the MenuItemButton. It takes in a child and an onPress callback. Reloading shows us the menu bar at the top with our button, and we can print to the console by clicking on our button. Next thing, let's have a look at nested menus. The widget we'll focus on in this example is the SubmenuButton. It takes in a child as well as a list of menu children. Let's pass in yet another SubmenuButton called parent, and we'll give it a MenuItemButton called child. And just like that, we can see our two nested submenu buttons and our MenuItemButton. Flutter gives us the ability to add shortcuts to our menu bar, so let's look at that next. We'll start like we did at the beginning with a MenuItemButton called button 1. Next, we'll pass in a shortcut. We can either use the CharacterActivator class, which takes in a string representation of a character, or the SingleActivator, which takes in a value from the logical keyboard key class. For this demonstration, I'll use the CharacterActivator. Now, beside our button name, we can see a hint representing the shortcut we passed in. When I press the shortcut on my keyboard, nothing happens. Why, you ask? Well, there's another step we need to complete in order to make this work. First, here's a convenience class I made called myAction. It just stores a shortcut and an onPressed callback. We will use this for the shortcut logic we need to implement in order for our MenuItemButton and the shortcut to share the same values. If that's confusing, I'm sorry, I'll show you what I mean. Let's quickly define a map of type string and myAction. We'll use the map key to represent our buttons, and the map value will have a new instance of the myAction class. Let's duplicate that for button 2, which we'll create later. Now we'll pass in values from the map into our MenuItemButton. As a disclaimer, there are safer ways to do this, but hopefully this is enough to get the point across. Now we'll quickly create button 2 that I mentioned a minute ago. Next, we'll create an instance of something called ShortcutRegistry entry. This is where we need to register our shortcuts in order for functions to be called when we press a key on our keyboards. We'll instantiate it inside the didChangeDependencies method, since we need to gain access to an inherited widget. The inherited widget I'm referring to is called ShortcutRegistry, and we'll call the addAll method on it. addAll returns a shortcut registry entry and expects a map of type ShortcutActivator and intent, or for our purposes, just treat that as a function. Now we'll just pass in the values from the myAction class we created earlier, retrieving them from our map. We do, however, need to wrap the onPress function in something called void callback intent. And again, we'll duplicate that for button 2. After reloading, we can now call the appropriate method when both clicking on the button directly, as well as when tapping the shortcuts on my keyboard. Also, make sure you don't forget to dispose of the shortcut registry entry when we're done with it. One last thing, you have the option to customize the look of the menu bar using the MenuStyle class. Feel free to experiment with that on your own time, of course. That's all for this one. I hope that made sense. If you have questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment. I will do my best to get back to you.